Hey everybody, here we are, part 2 with how to build your rocket, and today we are going to be covering 2 more sections. We're going to be covering installing your shock cord and marking your tube to see where your fins are going to go. So this is your shock cord. I think I accidentally asked you to take it out in the last video, but we didn't need it, but this time we will. It is found inside the bag that has your parachute. What you are also going to need is at the top of your instructions, right here, you're going to need to cut out these 2 parts. The part that says 3, 2, 1 and this part right here, okay? So typically I will cut it off of the paper first, and then I will cut the 2 smaller parts, and I'm gonna just hold these up for you to see exactly where I cut them so that you can do the exact same thing. Okay, so we're going to do the shock cord first. So for that we need the 3, 2, 1 paper. I'm going to ask you to put that on a surface in front of you with the 3 closest to your belly, the 1 facing out. I'm going to take a little bit of glue, and I'm going to put the glue, kind of rhymes, on the number 2, glue on number 2. I'm going to put the glue there. I'm going to take the end of my shock cord, and I'm going to place it over 2 and over 3. Okay, so that's what you're going to see. So then I'm going to take 1 and fold it on top of 2, and it should stick down and it should look like this. The very last bit you're going to do is again get some glue and put it on top of the cord and number 3. I think I may have used a little too much there. You don't want to use too much. And you're going to fold it one more time and then squeeze it. If you have a lot of extra glue on it, you want to get rid of it because you don't want it to be sticking to your fingers or be too wet at this point. So I've got it squeezed. I'm just wiping off any excess glue. And really just waiting for it to set a little bit. I would suggest waiting a few minutes before you actually go ahead and glue this inside of your rocket. While I'm giving it a moment to dry, let me just tell you what this is going to be for. This is going to go in the top end of your rocket. It's going to get glued inside, and to the other end of this is going to be your recovery system, which will be your parachute and also your nose cone. They'll both be tied to this. So next step, I'm going to take a little bit of glue. You can either put it on this or put it inside the tube. I'm going to put it on this, not too much. Just a little dab, and I put it in and put my finger on, and I slide it in just as far as I can get it and push it down inside. This one's a little sticky, so I'm having a hard time getting it off of my finger, so I recommend starting out with as little glue as possible. Okay, so this is your shock cord. It is now assembled and installed. The next part we're going to do is marking our tube to see where our fins are going to go. Now before we do that, I want to just pull my fins back out, and I want to show you something on the fins. The fins have little dot, almost holes in them, and what you're going to do is notice that that little dot is what actually gets glued onto the rocket. And I just want to make sure that I am putting this on the right way. When they actually get glued on, they're going to get glued on like that, okay? Want to make sure that they go on correctly. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is that you sand the leading edge. So if this part is attached to the rocket, this would be considered the leading edge, and I would sand this piece right here in a little bit of a rounded fashion so that it cuts down on any kind of wind shear, any wind resistance, and just kind of, you'll feel like almost like a rounded edge. And that just helps with the wind resistance. So I would recommend doing that to all 3. Okay, so again, if you hold it, the hole would be here, and it's the side straight across from that for all 3 of them. Now, this piece here is going to help us mark where our fins go. So you're going to first, this is just something that we've picked up over the years as a little trick, take your sandpaper and wrap it around the, I'm doing it around the wrong end. Wrap it around the end where the engine mount is and kind of scuff it up a little bit. It's very shiny right now and it makes it hard for you to stick the fins on. So if you do that and you just scuff it up a little bit, it makes it a little bit easier. You're going to then take your paper and you're going to wrap it around, and these lines are going to go on the bottom, and you're going to line it up as best you can. And I'm just going to slide it up toward the top just a little bit more. And you're going to notice that there's a few different markings. So I would suggest putting a line on a little line on either end. This one says FL. This one says FL, so that's where your fin's going to go in both of those spots. This one says LL, and this is where your launch lug is actually going to go. Mark it on both sides and also put a nice L there so that you remember that that's the one for the launch lug. And then you have one more here. Now, this is a trick we've developed over the years. You're going to take this, door jambs work best. So come on over here, I'm going to show you how I like to do this. I hold it up to the door jamb. And I'm just literally lining up. You don't need to do it for the one that has the L, that's just where the launch lug goes. More importantly, you're going to want to do your fins first. So you just line it up, hold your pencil, and it just makes it a little easier to draw a straight line on a rounded object like the tube. Here's another one. It's also really important that this part is accurate because the fins need to be glued on in the right spots. Otherwise the rocket can get really wacky when it's flying. Here's the third one. And then just so you know which one is the one where your launch lug goes, I would suggest just making like a really long line on that one, just so you know. Okay, so if you look, now we've got lines where all of those different parts were. Your next step is going to be gluing on those fins. Now, I'll be honest with you, it's a bit of a painful process and it takes some time. Little bit of glue at a time, hold it, blow on it, be patient. It does take time, okay? So when we come back together for the next video, I'll have my fins on and we'll move forward from there. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.